What up, everyone? We've got Loot Crate here. So a box that usually doesn't disappoint, always gives pretty good value. Sometimes the items are hit and miss. The box is a little bit smaller than we're used to seeing, but, you know, that might not be a bad thing. So let's take a look at this month's box and take a look at the items. So right after that, we got a t-shirt. Let's take a look at this shirt. Feels really soft. It's nice. Come on. Alrighty. So from first glance, this looks like an X-Files shirt, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the show just started airing. Yeah, it says X-Files. I have not been able to check it out yet. I wanted to. My mom was always a big fan of it when I was a kid, so I watched them all. And I thought it was a pretty cool show. I have not checked out the new series. You guys will have to let me know if it's any good. It looked good. I think it sounded like a cool show. But, you know, one of the millions of shows I haven't had time to catch up on. But this shirt is branded. It's from Threadless, and it actually says X-Files, and it is very soft, too. It seems very soft. I haven't tried it on, but it looks semi-fitted, so that's pretty cool. I think it's very relevant, very current. It has a nice little color scheme on there. I like the black and green, and it feels pretty nice. Yeah, I'll give that like an 8 out of 10. That's pretty cool. Nice quality shirt. I like it. Next, I had a peek at this item when I just took out the shirt, and I'm super psyched for it, actually. This is really cool. So, I know exactly what this is. And this is the Facehugger from Aliens. This is a new series that Kid Robot put out. I believe it's Kid Robot. But let me confirm that. Yeah, it says they're called Funny. So, if you can see back here, they have a lot of series from Kid Robot with that similar name. These are called Dunny. And they had the little Marvel ones, which were called Money. They were like Money World. And now these plush ones, so it's Funny with a PH. I get the joke they're going for there. I think it's a stupid title, but these plushes are really cool. I saw this in the comic shop the other day. They just recently came out. Oh, wow, it's really soft, too. So they have the Facehugger. Oh, you can see the ones on here. Facehugger, and they have the little chest burster guy, and they have the classic alien. I think these are really cool. I like it when they do, like, horror-style figures, characters that are like really detailed and gruesome looking, and they make them cute and adorable. I think that's really funny, like the name Funny, and I think that's really cool. I was a really big fan of this, and I was actually going to go buy this when I was at the comic shop. I'm glad I didn't, because now it came in here. And this actually says Loot Crate exclusive, which I don't know if that's the case, because if I'm not mistaken, I did see this on the Kid Robot website. So maybe there's something about it that makes it exclusive. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to double check that. But I'm pretty sure I saw this exact one on the Kid Robot website, so I'm not sure what would make it exclusive, but very good choice. I'm very happy about this. I think it's cool. I'm not always a big fan of plush figures, but this one's really cool, and it's extremely soft. Like, it's really nicely done, and I want to get the other ones. The chestburster and the alien look really awesome, so I think that's a really good choice. I'm psyched to see that. I really like that. I thought that's great. All right, let's take a look at what else we got. Looks like we got a Space Invaders mini alien vinyl figure. Oh, okay. So we just got a little figure in here. This says Loot Crate exclusive. Let's take a look at it. Comes in a nice little package. And yeah, this looks just like a little Space Invaders figure. I'm sure they have ones that came in different colors. Nothing too special about it. Nothing too detailed about it. It's a cool figure. It'll look nice on a shelf. Yeah, it's just a vinyl figure that in the shape of Space Invaders. Pretty simple shape to go with, but, you know, that works. I love vinyl figures. I think most people do that get this box. And it's exclusive. Okay, that works. Let's take a look at what else we got. Something else from the X-Files, LED flashlight. And yeah, I think this is just a plain flashlight. I was going to see if it had shine the logo or anything, but I don't think it does. I think it just shines some plain light. Yeah, there's no symbol on there, just basic LED flashlight. Water resistant, anti-shock switch, batteries included. Cool. So, just a light that says X-Files on it. Nothing super special about it, but, you know, lights are useful. Why not? Alrighty. Oh, here are the batteries. Batteries are included separately, I guess. Now, what else we got? Oh my gosh. So we have what looks like a prop replica of the multipass from The Fifth Element. It actually says winner on there. Oh, this is from, you can see on the back, it's from Quantum Mechanics. The people that brought us Q-Pop. Now, I've mentioned before that Quantum Mechanics has a partnership with Loot Crate. Focus. has a partnership with Loot Crate because we've seen stuff from them before. We saw Batman Q-Pop that we got, and the Q-Pop's really cool. I'm a big fan of them. Quantum Mechanics is cool too. They do prop replicas often, and this is one of them. You know, I'm not always a fan of this style of prop replica because, you know, it's pretty simple. There's not a ton of detail. There couldn't be a lot of detail because it's a pretty simple thing. It's cool to look at them and fun, but I can't imagine really displaying this super well. But it's still cool. I'm a big fan of The Fifth Element. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and it's cool to see that and bring back some memories. I like it. Alright. Next, got a big fucking rubber band. That's weird. Does that go to something? I'll have to keep looking in the box to see if this goes to something. It's literally just a giant rubber band in there. Alright. Then we got a pin. So yeah, this is just the pin. All the boxes come with a pin. I usually don't show them off because it's just a pin. And I usually don't add that in the value in there because that's just kind of filler, kind of advertisement for the box. But, you know, whatever. And let's see. The last item in here. We got a little booklet that talks about everything. And we got a little envelope, which says, looks like it says it has an art print in there. Alrighty. So it looks like we got War of the Worlds and The Day the Earth Stood Still. So these look like replicas from the original posters of these movies. They're pretty cool though. They're nice in quality, nice cardstock. They're printed well. The design of them is cool. They got a little glossy finish. So that's pretty cool. And it came in a nice little envelope. Nice way to display them. Alright, why not? So that was all the items in the box. And I don't know what this rubber band is to. That's so weird. Why is there a giant rubber band in my box? I don't know what that would go to. Alright. That was all the items, so we will take a short break and we'll come back and talk about some value and give this box a rating. See you soon. Alright. We are back. Let's give this some value. First, the shirt. Like I said, really nice in quality. Good quality shirt. Very relevant with the X-Files coming out. Maybe not everyone's a huge fan of the X-Files, but good quality, good design, good print, exclusive. 8 out of 10. But it'll get the standard $12 to $15 value. Then, our little plush figure. So I actually did research and found out why it's exclusive. First of all, I found out what the rubber band is for. And Loot Crate is so crazy with the word exclusive. Like, they'll do anything to anything just to say they can make something exclusive. And the description says about this, includes our elastic Facehugger band so you can recreate some of the scenes. So basically, a rubber band, not exclusive, or technically it is, but literally just a rubber band, so you can put this guy in there and fling him across the room. Like, Loot Crate gets so crazy about saying, oh, this is exclusive. Like, it's a rubber band. It's not exclusive. This is a rubber band. Take it easy, Loot Crate. You need to calm it down with the word exclusive. They could have easily just not put it in there. But anyway, I just always found it funny about this company. Like, they put in the most random things, and they'll change one detail just so they can put their stamp exclusive on there. It's just not that big of a deal. Like, we don't care that much. Like, no one cares about the word exclusive anymore. Just don't put rubber bands in there. We don't care. Anyway, I looked on the Kid Robot website, and the part that's exclusive is actually on there. It's the stitching of the eyes. This one has open eyes, and the one on Kid Robot has like an angry look on it. So it is actually exclusive either way, regardless of their goddamn rubber band. It is still exclusive because it has a different facial expression. But either way, I think it's a really cool plush figure. I really like this series, and I want to get all three of them. The fact that it's exclusive kind of hurts the value a little bit because Loot Crate's become so popular that items, every time they're in there, they're not rare at all. So you can find this online extremely cheap for the exclusive one. But I want to be fair to this company. I do think this is a really good product. Kid Robot sells them for $13, so that's the value I'm going to give them. This one specifically you can find online for like $4 or $5 because like I said, 500,000 people get this box. 500,000 people are trying to sell this item, so the value gets really low. But I think it's worth at least $13 because it is really nice in quality and I genuinely like it. So I think $13 is a fair value on that. Then, our Space Invaders vinyl figure. This is about $8 to $10. It comes in a nice box. The figure isn't like super detailed or anything. It comes in different colors, but it's pretty basic in its shape and design. But it is still a nice figure, so it comes in a nice window display box. So I think 8 to 10 may even be a little high, but I think that's still pretty fair. Then, our Multipass from Quantum Mechanics. I'm sure if you went on their website, if they were selling it, they'd want to charge a decent amount. But I don't really think it's worth it because it is pretty simple. It's just plastic. It's pretty easily to recreate this and make this design. But this is going for like 10 or 12 online. And I think that's fair. Again, probably a little high, more than I'd pay for it. But prop replicas always get a higher amount just because they're replicas and they have to pay rights for it. But as far as quality, it's not super high in quality. It's pretty basic, pretty easy prop to replicate. But around 10 to 12 I think is fair to generous on that value. Then our little flashlight, nothing special about it. It's an LED flashlight. It does come with batteries though, that's cool. So you can't argue with that. Comes in a nice little case. It's like carded in plastic and stuff like that. It literally is just a light that says X-Files, so nothing super special about it. But this will actually go for like $7 or $8 because it is branded. So it's weird to give it that value because it's literally just a flashlight that says some words on there. Doesn't make it any different, but that surprisingly does bring the value up. I wouldn't pay $7 or $8 for a flashlight, but that's pretty much what you'd have to pay if you were going to buy that in the store. Then, our art prints. Very nice art prints. I like the little envelope and everything. I like the display. They're good quality. But there was no specific artist tied to it. These are just kind of something that was replicated as well. So that being said, I'm only going to give this like $4 or $5 for the pair of them. You can very easily find it online for cheaper. People are practically giving them away because there's no artist tied to it, so I can't imagine people wanting to seek it out. And they're also replicated after movie posters, but they're much smaller versions. But either way, they're still nice quality prints, and they still look cool, so I think 4 or 5 is generous. Then we got our pin, which I usually never give any value to, but you know, they made a nice little card to put it on, so I thought I'd at least recognize it. One of the things that I also don't talk about is their box art. They always have really cool box art in there. They always have, and a pin. I rarely ever talk about them. It kind of gets glazed over, but I do appreciate it. It's nice little things like that. Same with their booklet. They have like cool articles and questionnaires in there. They actually put some good effort into it. So those 3 things are things that often get glazed over in reviews, even in my own reviews, but I just thought I'd point it out. It's not that I don't appreciate them, it's just I usually don't include them in the value, but it's really nice to see companies take the time to do that, because it doesn't make them any more money really to do those things. They just kind of do it to make it cool. There's nothing, it's not going to cost any more, it's not going to give us any more value to have box art on the inside of the box, but it's still cool. It gives you part of the experience to open it up and see something cool like that. And the same with the booklet. And the pin, I can't imagine anyone ever wanting this pin unless you get Loot Crate, and in that case you'd have it, because I really wouldn't imagine someone seeking out this pin because it's specifically for this box, so it'd be weird to have that pin, but I'm going to give it some value. I'll give it $1 or $2 for that, but it's still nice to see that they put in effort here and there, small little tweaks. It's just nice to notice that, but I usually don't give it any value. Anyway, that brings our value on the low end of 52, on the high end of 65. So this is what I've been talking about with Loot Crate. They are always just tremendous on the value. They give fantastic value. Usually always at least double, and again, if not triple. On the high end, you got more than triple your value. Depending on where you live, you should be paying around $20 for this box, which is one of the cheaper boxes out there. And the fact that they give such high value, and most of the stuff in here was exclusive, if not all of it, which they're usually one to do, and they have partnerships with good companies like Kid Robot, like that's pretty cool. They have partnerships with Quantum Mechanics and Funko, so overall, it's a pretty safe bet. They, like I said, they don't always hit it home with their themes, and sometimes the items they choose are not always like fantastic, like a fucking rubber band. Like, are you kidding me, guys? Like, just so sometimes their choices aren't always perfect, but you know, they usually always do a really good job with the exclusives, with giving variety, with giving a lot of stuff. Even though it's a small box, I wasn't worried about it because I know they'd deliver pretty well. So overall, pretty good. I'm really happy they put in the Kid Robot Facehugger. I'm a huge fan of that, and the shirt was nice. The other stuff was, you know, it was okay. It was exclusive, which is cool, but, you know, not super high in quality. Like the light, it's just a light with the title on there. The Multipass is a pretty simple replica. The Space Invaders, it's a very simplistic vinyl figure, although it is nice. So, all that being said, I'm going to give this a value of probably around an 8 out of 10. I might bring that down a little bit because not all the items were spectacular, but at least they were exclusive, and some of the items were really cool, and you really can't argue with the value. The value is fantastic in there, so it's a pretty safe bet to try out this box if you're new to the whole box subscription thing. It's a good box to start out with because you don't have to put that much money, and you usually get pretty cool stuff. The only reason I might bring that value, the score down a little bit, because like I said, some of the things in here, although exclusive, were not super amazing in quality, and the fact they put that stupid rubber band in there just kind of shows a little bit of desperation there, that they're trying to get exclusive stuff, but they're trying a little bit too hard in that sense. They just don't need to. It's not a big deal. I don't think anyone would be disappointed if they didn't put a rubber band in there. But I also like that, like I said, the box art, the pin, the magazine. It's cool to see the effort put into this box, so that's nice. So right around an 8 out of 10, I think is fair considering all those factors. But let me know what you guys thought about it. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this box and all the items, and we'll see it again in the monthly review. Thank you all for watching. Love you all. Peace.